Well, good evening, folks. Thanks for joining us. My name's Dean, and I appreciate you joining us tonight for the 5 costly mistakes home sellers make and how to avoid them. Thanks for taking time out of your Thursday evening. Hey, just real quick, I'm just curious, where are people from? And do you have any selling experience? So just maybe type in the chat what area you're from, what part of Sacramento or surrounding areas, and if you've sold any homes before. Always like people to participate. Oh, Rick Roseville sold 3 homes. Well, welcome. And I promise, even if with that experience sold 3 homes, you will learn something new tonight. This is from my 25 years of experience, and I promise you will benefit. So anybody else out there that tell me where you're from and if you have any home selling experience. We've usually got, somebody in Folsom, Wendy, first time seller, no clue what to do. Very common, and you're in good company. A lot of people don't have a clue what to do when it comes to selling a home. And, I'd say even those people who are experienced selling homes, we don't do it every day. It's not something we do on a regular basis. Oh, Julie, Sacramento, Natomos, sold a few homes in the past. Okay, good. You will learn something too. So if anybody else wants to jump in there, just tell me where you're from and if you have any experience selling homes. So yeah, we are going to cover things for new folks. We're going to cover some things for experienced folks. Like I said, even if you sold homes in the past, you're going to learn something tonight because the average, I believe the numbers show that people move on an average every 7 to 10 years. And some people obviously much longer than that. So selling a home, since you're not doing it on a regular basis, like let's say a realtor, you don't know everything. You don't know the ins and outs and the secrets and the strategies and that kind of thing to maximize your proceeds and sell quickly and not make the mistakes. So we're going to cover those tonight. So if anybody else wants to join in the chat, feel free. I do appreciate people in the chat, so I know at least I'm being heard. And I'm looking. Oh, somebody's. Oh, okay. I thought somebody else tried in there. So this is the 5 costly mistakes most sellers make and how to avoid them. I also call this 5 mistakes so big your dog would shake it. There's my attempt at humor with the sound effects and everything. You know what? I got to have fun doing this. I'm serious about my business, but I try not to take myself too seriously. Got to have a good time. So hopefully I'll make you laugh tonight, or at least maybe groan at one of those dumb jokes. But I like to have fun, and maybe I'll throw a little humor into this as we go through. So I want this to be interactive. So please, if you have questions, put them in the chat. We'll probably cover them at the end because I will make time at the end for some Q&A. Camera on or off, your choice. I've got some powerful home seller guides I'm going to give you if you'll hang out till the end. I promise it'll be worth it all through, but if you hang out till the end, I'm going to give you some vital information, some home selling guides that will really make a difference to your bottom line, I promise. And like I said, stack up those questions in the Q&A and we'll go from there. So let's start. Let's move some things around on my screen. Let's start with a few questions. And these things I just want you to answer to yourself. First question. What if a simple pricing mistake ends up costing you $10,000 or $20,000 or more without you even realizing it until it's too late? Think about that. Just think to yourself, how would you like that? What if that happened? Next question. What if the agent you hired is the very reason your home sells for thousands less, or maybe doesn't even sell at all? These are really supposed to get you thinking. Next question. What if buyers, once you're on the market, are silently rejecting your home the second they walk through the door and you don't even know why? How would that make you feel? 2 more questions. What if hidden market signals quietly drained tens of thousands of dollars and you never even realized it? And when I'm talking about these numbers, thousands or even tens of thousands, I've been doing this 25 years, folks. I have seen mistakes made that did cost sellers tens of thousands of dollars. Not my sellers, but I've seen plenty of them. And I know plenty of agents who have made mistakes I know people who have lost money, lost time. I had lawsuits. We're going to talk about those tonight to prevent that. And of course, the last question, speaking of that, what if the deal closes, but months later, you're hit with a legal nightmare that ends up draining all the profits you made on your house? You know, we are in California, folks, one of the most litigious states in the union. People like to sue, and real estate's not uncommon to get sued about. I'll tell you, knock on wood, I have never been in a lawsuit, and neither of my clients. So tonight we're going to discuss how to ensure none of those things happen so you don't lose money or end up in court. Okay? So my goal tonight's a simple one. I want you to feel in control and at ease with the process, and at the end say, I got this. I feel good. I got this. That's the goal. So tonight's agenda. First of all, I'm going to tell you a little bit about who I am, very briefly, just so you know if I'm worth listening to. I hope you'll stay. And we'll talk about an overview real quick of the home selling process. Even those of you who've sold before will appreciate that. That's just a couple slides. We'll talk about the 5 costly mistakes. We're going to go in depth in some of these mistakes because they are so critical when it comes to making or losing money on your sale and speeding up your sale or making it drag on. I'm going to give you a few freebies if you hang on to the end, and then I'll talk about how to get further advice and guidance if you so choose. And we'll end it with some Q&A if anybody has any questions. So for those who stay to the end, let me talk about one of the freebies I'm going to give you. Stay to the end, I'm going to give you this guide free, this e-guide. And I'm going to send you, get you a link so you can download it right away. The 6 must-ask questions when interviewing a real estate agent. You know, a lot of folks think all real estate agents are the same. I got to confess, before I became one, I thought so too. But just like in any profession, there are good ones, there are bad ones, and then there are the mediocre ones. Just like if you were going to be in a lawsuit, whether you were the plaintiff or the defendant, you would want an excellent attorney, and you probably wouldn't skimp on that. And if you were going to go into heart surgery, you probably wouldn't want to hire the heart surgeon who says, well, I've got a special this week, I'll give you 20% off. So I say those jokingly, but a lot of people treat that when it comes to real estate transactions. We're talking about the biggest transactions of our lives, most of us, and we tend to want either a friend or family member or somebody who's going to do it for us cheap or promise us a higher price when we know that's not really realistic. So this guide will help you make sure when you interview agents, you ask the right questions. So let me tell you a little bit about me. My name is Dean Rinker. I'm with Keller Williams Realty. I'm 40 years here in the Sacramento area, home selling guru, realtor, certified real estate negotiator, 25 years in the business. I got in the business in 2000. Started at Coldwell Banker. I was there for about 2.5 years, then joined Keller Williams Realty, where I am still at today. So 25 years in the business, 22 plus years with Keller Williams. I've worked with nearly 1,000 home sellers and buyers, and I'm kind of known, my clients tell me I'm helping people navigate the process. We get them higher prices typically than the market average. My strategies do. Sell a little faster. My averages is 11 days faster than the market average. Less stress, better results, and of course, I am licensed by the state. My big why, a lot of people say, why do you do real estate? It's not an easy profession. No, it's not. This is why, my family. And that little guy there is my grandson, my first grandson, who will be 2 on Wednesday. And I'll tell you, seems like it was just 18. I don't get it. And now I'm a grandfather, and that's the rest of my family there. So that's my big why. Why do I do this? Because of my family. These are a few of my satisfied sellers of late. These are just folks from all over the place: Sacramento, Cameron Park, El Dorado Hills, that's Roseville, Elk Grove. What else we got here? Another Cameron Park, Fair Oaks, Orangevale, Rancho Cordova, Natomas. So I sell all over the place. And these are some of my reviews. By the way, these are all legit. You can go onto Google reviews or Zillow. I've got about 100 plus reviews over the years. And I like the one in the middle there from a good friend, Josh Haber. Dean is the best. He recently helped me sell my house and got significantly over asking price. I've used Dean several times now, and each time he's made the process a breeze. A lot of my business is done through referral and repeat business. So for referrals, I've got to take darn good care of my clients. So they do refer me. And of course, if I don't take good care of them, they're not going to call me back when it's time to buy or sell in the future. So I really focus on taking great care of my clients, buyers or sellers. And it's another one here. I like the one on the left, Tracy Ratzlaff. They were neighbors of Oz who she worked at a property management company and had her property manager realtor list their house for sale, and it did not sell. She switched to us, and it says they're making the switch was the best decision of the entire process for us. We only wish we had started with them in the first place. And when she says them, she means me and my wife. My wife, Heidi, is also a licensed agent, and she helps me sort of in the background with paperwork and disclosures and the legal compliance. And I sell all over the place. These are a few of my home sales. I have sold in 28 cities and towns in all 4 counties, and we'll sell anywhere. So let's talk about a quick overview of the home selling process before we get into the 5 mistakes. So first thing, step 1, when you're selling your house, you want to partner with an experienced, knowledgeable realtor. There's a lot of realtors out there, folks. I'm telling you, a lot of people get into real estate because they think it's easy. They think it's a quick buck. I thought it'd be easier than it was when I first got involved, but I do love it. It is not an easy thing, but I make a big difference in people's lives, and it's so rewarding, and I love it. So you want to partner with somebody that knows what they're doing, who has experience. Partner with somebody local. I've seen people over the years that list with a friend from out of town. Like I've had people here locally. I've seen not my clients, but I've seen people who list with a friend out of San Francisco because they want their friend to get the deal. Well, the challenge is when you sell a house, when you sell real estate, there are local ordinances and local laws, disclosure laws, requirements for selling homes. And a San Francisco agent's probably not going to know what we have to do up here in Sacramento, nor would I sell, even if I had a friend in San Francisco who said, hey, Dean, would you list my house? That'd be a great commission with the prices down there, but I wouldn't do it because I don't know that market. And I don't know how to, I don't know the legal requirements and the disclosure obligations. And I certainly don't want a mistake that could put me or my client at risk. So partner with somebody experienced, knowledgeable, track record of success, and somebody local. Phase 2, prepare your home to sell inside and out. You're going to need to prepare your home. Once you put your home on the market, it is no longer your home. It is now a product for sale. So you need to prepare it, make it look its best. And we'll talk a little bit about that later. Number 3, you're going to price your home to sell based on market factors, not what Uncle Fred out of Boston thinks your home is worth here on the West Coast. That's a real example, by the way. Or what mom and dad thinks it's worth, or what your neighbor thinks it's worth, or what the neighbor sold for, or what you want or need. Doesn't matter. You want to sell based on market factors. Market dictates the price, and period. So we'll talk about that too. You're going to complete all the required disclosure paperwork. In California, there's a stack of paperwork that sellers have to complete to tell the buyers everything you know about the home. There's a lot of them. And by the way, if you haven't sold a home in the last 2 years, there's more paperwork now. Every year, the California Association of Realtors adds more paperwork for us. I'm also an instructor. I teach on the disclosures and the contracts and all of that. So just me staying up on that. I go crazy sometimes with all paperwork, but since I teach it, I got to stay up on it. And then stage 5 is stage your home. Again, it's a product. So there's one thing about preparing your home, you know, maybe making minor fixes, cleaning it up, decluttering, that kind of thing. And then staging it is actually making it look pretty, like let's say a model home. And we'll talk more about that. Phase 6, launch your marketing and promote the listing. That's really what your agent will do for you. It's all about getting it out there. It's one thing to prepare your home for selling, but when it's out there, when it's on Zillow and the online websites, that's really your first showing. So it's got to look good from the start. Number 7, show your property to prospective buyers. Number 8, review offers, hopefully offers. Yes, there are still times where we get multiple offers even in this market, which can bump the price up a little higher. Review offers, negotiate, and accept a great offer. So once you're in contract, you see that dotted line there. It says the escrow process. So once you get into contract, you're in escrow. We open escrow with the title company, and they're the neutral third party that does all the paperwork, make sure all the money's handled correctly, et cetera, et cetera. And during escrow, we have these last 2 phases where you negotiate any requested repairs or credits from the buyer. In California, the buyer has an inspection window. They can do any inspection they want for the house at their expense. Of course, we get copies of those, or you get copies of those as a seller, and then they can ask for credit. So if they find something that was really significant that they didn't know when they put the offer on the house, they have the right to ask you to either make repairs or maybe give a little money back that they can do it. Here's the thing: you're not obligated to do that, but it's a negotiation. And of course, during that period, you start packing. And then number 10 is you close the sale, move on to the next thing. And fireworks and excitement, sound effects and everything, folks. And that's the fun part. You cash the check and you move on to your next adventure. So avoiding the 5 costly mistakes we're going to talk about is going to result in 3 things. 1, more money in your pocket. It's hard to guarantee anything, but I can almost guarantee if you don't make these mistakes, you will put more money in your pocket. And if you do the things I'm going to teach tonight, you will put more money in your pocket. And I can say thousands, but I also mean tens of thousands. And let's say it was only 5,000. Would tonight be worth it? Would that be worth spending your time or following this advice? I think so. I hope so. A faster sale. Some people think that you want a house on the market for an extended period of time to get all the buyers to see it and that kind of thing. Oh, no, no, no. The longer a home is on the market, buyers start to wonder what's wrong. And then you start get the low ball offers, you get the sharks coming out. You really want a fairly quick sale. Because think about it. When your home goes on the market, it's on all the portals. It's on Zillow and Realtor.com and Redfin and websites all over the country. Buyers are going to see it. So it doesn't take long, because if you think about it, if any of you have ever looked for homes on Zillow, how often do you look? If you're in the buying process, how often would you look? Usually daily, right? Most people say, oh no, several times a day, right? I want to see new homes as they come up. So you don't want to delay. You want a fairly quick sale, and that's really where you get the top dollar. Easy and drama-free. That's the goal. Now, real estate by nature can be a stressful experience, no question about it. But with a good partner, with a good realtor, you can minimize that stress and really make it an enjoyable experience. So one more freebie I'm going to offer you. Those will stay to the end. I'm going to give you this guide as well. It's a pricing guide, how to avoid the #1 mistake that costs homeowners thousands. And it may not be what you think. So the seller mistakes. In 25 years, I've seen that most sellers make mistakes that cost them money, take longer to sell, and end up stressing them out big time. Today, I'm going to equip you with the knowledge and the tools so you can be confident and you can get it done and be one of the better sellers out there, because you're going to compete. We all compete when we put our homes on the market because there's other homes on the market. So by the way, if any of you would like, I've got 5 more private strategy sessions available over the next 17 days. Book a Zoom if you'd like. I'm going to put the link right here. This is a no obligation kind of thing. It's just for us to get on Zoom or even on a phone call if you prefer. And we'll answer your questions. We'll talk about the strategies we use to make sure you can get top dollar, sell quicker, and with minimal hassle. Again, no obligation. I've got 5 left. I do a limited number just because I don't want to work with too many sellers at a time. Otherwise, I can't focus. And this, by the way, this is not obligated. The way I said that sounds wrong. You're not agreeing to work with me if you do that. We're just talking. If you decide I'm somebody you'd like to talk to further, fantastic. If not, at least you'll get some questions answered. So let's talk about the mistakes. So mistake number 1, probably not a surprise to some of you. Mistake number 1 is overpricing the home. Overpricing, some people think, well, I know its market value is X, but I want to price it at X plus 20,000, give room for negotiation. Again, I used to think that. And what we've learned is, no, buyers know prices these days, especially with Zillow and all the online marketing out there, because buyers see the prices. Prior to online, it wasn't that easy. So you could price a little above and give room for negotiation. But these days, buyers know the prices. If you've ever looked online in the past, look for a home, you get used to what the prices are for this size of home in this area. So what you want to do is not price above the market. We'll talk about how to price that. By the way, overpricing your home can result in a few things that are not positive. one, you get fewer showings. If buyers are looking at homes, because they're not just going to look at yours online, they're going to look at a bunch. And if they see all homes similar to yours are priced, let's say at 500 and yours is at 550, they're probably not even going to bother looking. That tends to make other homes look like better deals when a seller's home is overpriced. Agents may skip showing it. The agents, by all, of course, know the values and know what's appropriate. Homes tend to stay on the market longer when they're overpriced. They sell for less because the longer it's on the market, buyers start to wonder, why nobody's bought it yet. Buyers are rejecting it. Something must be wrong. And so sellers then have to reduce the price, and then it ends up selling for less than it had been priced right to start with. And it may not appraise at that higher price, because remember, when you get into contract, the buyer's lender, unless it's an all cash deal, but the buyer's lender is going to appraise that property. And even if you did get into contract with a buyer who offered more, if it doesn't appraise, that deal could fall apart. Now, it could be negotiated and resolved, but it could also fall apart. So we'll talk about that. And overpriced homes tend to sit on the market, like we said. So what do you think when a home has been sitting on the market for months? Answer that to yourselves or in the chat. What do you think? Would you want to see it? Would you choose this home over newer listings at the same price? What kind of offer would you make? I've worked with so many buyers over the years that they see a property on the market even 2 or 3 weeks or a month, and they say, well, I'm not going to offer full price. It hasn't sold yet. Buyers don't want it. Something's wrong with it. It's overpriced. So think about that. Time on the market is acid to the price of the home. Longer market time signals something's wrong. Buyers assume you're desperate. Stale listings, that's what it becomes after a little while, invite low-ball offers, reduces your negotiation power, and the longer it sits, the less it ultimately sells for. And this is a great example, time on the market. This is a study out of 2023 through the MLSs around the country, and it showed for in the first week, homes tend to get 100% of market value, and as time goes on, their market value, perceived market value, drops. So it's really important to price it so it sells usually definitely within the first 30 days, but within the first couple of weeks, you're going to really maximize your price. And then overpriced homes tend to help other homes that are correctly priced sell. So if that's a seller's home in the middle there, assuming all things are kind of related equal, no two homes are exactly alike, but that higher priced home is going to drive those buyers to the other properly priced home. So the goal is for you to be at one of these outside homes. Don't be the overpriced home. We want somebody else overpriced so your home sells correctly. So what factors determine the value of the home? So first, let's talk about what doesn't determine a home's value. This is just as important. What you paid for it doesn't have anything to do with it. It doesn't have anything to do with value. How much money you've put into it. Yes, while upgrades and renovations, remodeling will make it overall more valuable, you're probably not going to get out what you put into it. We all know that. You rarely get out what you put into it, but it does make it more valuable. But what you want or need to net from the sale doesn't matter. I've worked with sellers over the years that said, well, we need this price because that's the price that'll allow us to get into our next home, even if it's overpriced. And I always ask those sellers, I said, well, if you were going to buy the next home and that home was $50,000 overpriced, but the seller said, well, we need it for our next home, would you say, oh, okay, I'll give you the extra 50? No. So what you paid for it, what you want or need does not matter. What your neighbor, friend, or relative says it's worth doesn't matter. What Zillow thinks it's worth doesn't matter. What you want next doesn't matter. So what does determine value? Obviously, those things on the right, but ultimately, what buyers are willing to pay in today's market. In other words, the market. The market determines values. And an experienced realtor can help you price your home correctly to sell for top dollar in any market. So here's the solution. Price it at or slightly below market value. Now, as I say to all my clients, the advice is mine, the decisions are yours. However, this tends to really work, and sellers, once they really understand this and appreciate it, love it. If you price it just a little hair below market value, buyers see that. They say, oh, good deal. And that gets them coming running. Because really what you want is eyeballs, right? We want people in the door. If it's overpriced, they'll never get past their computer screen or their phone seeing it online. We want that to be a good deal price-wise, and of course, the rest of the marketing makes a difference, but we want that price to be intriguing and inviting to a buyer so they at least come look. And what happens is by lowering, getting a little aggressive on the pricing, and by the way, you're not obligated to take any offer that's not where you want it. I'm just saying, remember, a listing price is really an invitation. It's an invitation for offers. It's an invitation to come look. And what that happens is when multiple people are interested, because that's the goal, is it creates that eBay or that auction effect where, think about it. If I want something that you want, then you want it more. And if you want what I want it more. And we tend to then say, well, I'm going to outbid the next person. I'm going to outbid the next person. That's how I got this house. I live in El Dorado Hills. I had to spend $30,000 above list price. This was 2013, so 12 years ago, because I was up against 4 other buyers. You'd think it'd make a difference that I was a realtor, but no, the seller didn't care that I was a realtor. I still had to compete. And they priced it a little bit more aggressively, and it ended up getting a lot more than it would have had they priced it at market at the time. So the goal is to spark multiple offers. It creates that urgency and often leads to a higher price. And most sellers want to do the opposite. They want to price it too high and make you think they'll come down a little bit. You really can't underprice a home. The only way you can really underprice a home is if you price it low and 2 hours later you accept the first offer that comes in. No, don't do that. That's all we do. What I typically do is I put my sellers' homes on the market on, let's say, a Wednesday, maybe a Thursday, and say, we're not going to look at offers till Sunday night or Monday. And what that does is that gives a full 4 or 5 days for buyers to see it and buyers to come look. Because again, any serious buyers are really going to see it the day that it comes on the market, right? Would you agree? If you're out looking for a new home, every home that comes listed in an area you want, you're going to see, right? Because it's on the portals right away, and you're looking daily, if not hourly. So even if you underprice it a little bit, the market will push that price up with multiple offers. Just like if your home was worth 500 and you priced it at 450, that's a little dramatic of an example, but just get my point. Buyers are going to say, oh, something's there. We got to come see it. And they're going to come look, and they're going to realize, well, that's a good deal because based on everything else, I know that's not going to sell at that price. I'm going to have to offer more, and et cetera, et cetera. And then what happens is it ends up typically priced. So many people want it, or even just 2 outbidding each other. It can end up going above market value, what it may have sold if you priced it at market value in the first place. I don't want to get my words twisted there. So buyers compete when they see strong value. A lower price creates high interest and better terms, and ultimately you control the final decision. So you're never obligated to accept too low a price. Here's one more guide. I've got 2 more, this one and 2 more. How to sell your home for more money. And these are 7 secrets to make buyers fall in love with your house. Because really, if you think about it, when your home is on the market, my goal with clients that I work with is we want those buyers to fall in love with the house. Even if it's not a newer house or maybe it's dated. The point is every home has a buyer. And the goal is to make those buyers excited about the house and want that house. And there's a whole lot we can do so that when they walk in the door, they're excited about it. Again, there's the consultations I'm offering. Again, 5 over the next 17 days available. So book now, no obligation, no pressure, that's not me, not my style. And there's a couple other guides, again, I'll give you 2 if you book this evening. Mistake number 2 is ignoring presentation. In other words, staging your home to sell. So think about this. Cluttering home. Have we ever been in a cluttered home? They look smaller. Cluttered homes make homes feel smaller and less valuable. So we talk about cleaning it up, stage it, pack things away, rearrange the furniture, that kind of thing. So cluttered homes are not good. Darker dated spaces turn buyers off very quickly. Bad smells, like maybe from a cat litter box that maybe we don't. I've got cats and I've got a dog. Sometimes we tend to not notice the scents because we're around them all the time. So we may not realize that. So ask your realtor or a party that's going to give you the truth. Say, hey, do you smell my animals? Because you want to make sure that's taken care of. Unstaged homes struggle to stand out online. And really, buyers can't picture themselves living there if it's a cluttered, rough house. So here's a couple of things, a couple of examples. Which do you think would impress buyers more and get higher offers? Now, you may think their sellers would not do that thing on the top of that picture. They wouldn't leave their house in that condition. Oh, I beg to differ, folks. I've had sellers that have said, look, we have to live in the house. We're living here still. Buyer's going to have to, look beyond this, and they'll, if they like the house, they're going to like the house, knowing that we're going to take all the stuff out. I'll tell you, folks, it really is, first impressions matter. You never get that second chance to make a first impression. I have seen this. I have had clients like this that did not listen. Dark or bright? Before staging, after staging. So some people think staging is where we bring in furniture and put things on the walls and make it look like it's lived in if it's vacant. And that staging is, we can do that, especially for vacant houses, although we can also do it virtually these days. But staging is really as simple as organizing and fixing things around the house and making it look better, and maybe moving a couch so the flow into the family room works a little better, or just cleaning up. So staging does not have to be an expensive or time-consuming kind of thing. So the solution is prepare. Declutter every room to create space and openness. It really is creating that space. Light also creates space and openness. Decluttering. Deep clean top to bottom. Even the windows. A lot of people think, oh, we have to clean the windows, nobody's going to notice. Yes, the windows make a big difference. The windows make a big difference. Touch up paint and repair any minor damage. Boost your curb appeal. If nothing else, mow the lawn and trim the hedges. Okay. And I also recommend power washing the house, getting the cobwebs out of the entryway, maybe putting some potted flowers out front. Yellow, by the way, is a good color for buyers coming to see your house, and adding simple staging touches like towels, pillows, or flowers can make a big difference. I call it the model home mystique. Think of when you walk into a model home. What is it like? Well, light and bright, right? They have all the window coverings. Actually, usually model homes don't have any window coverings, so they have all the light coming in from outside, and they have every single light on in the house. So when your home is being shown to a buyer, you want to open all the window coverings, make sure you turn on all the lights. I mean, under cabinet lighting, hallway lighting, closet lighting, everything. Light and bright. And then smell a fresh, subtle scent. Maybe a Glade plug-in or something, or back in the old days, we used to use potpourri on a kitchen counter and that kind of thing, or a nice candle, that kind of thing. We're playing to the senses, folks. We're playing to the senses. The temperature, comfortable. Ceiling fans low. You know what? In Sacramento, in 100-degree weather, you don't want to have the AC off when you go out and when buyers come in. I've had clients that I've taken buyers into homes where the AC was off and it was 100-something degrees outside, or it was freezing in Sacramento and they had the heating off because they didn't want to leave it on. Well, I've had buyers turn around and walk right out. And then music, something soft in the background. Again, think of the model homes. No Def Leppard or Marilyn Manson or anything like that. Put some soft classical or jazz in the background. Create that model home mystique. And be sure to put all the toilet seats down. It's the little things, guys. It's the little things that make the difference. And focus on the 4 power rooms. Granted, you're going to fix up the whole house. You want to make sure the whole house is presentable. But the 4 power rooms are where people and families spend the most of their time. The kitchen, the bathrooms, especially the master bath, the primary bedroom, also called the master bedroom, and the living or family room, wherever the main room is for your house. Those are where the buyers are going to come in, and they're going to say, well, this is where we spend time with our family, or this is where we do our dinners and have our meals. You want those places to stand out. And here's the other mistake, number 3, not listening to the market. And by the way, it does talk. So here's the thing. If you're on the market now for week 2, 3, whatever it is, and you've got no calls, or your agent has had no calls, there have been no showings, you've got no offers, that's the market. And the market's shouting at you. It's screaming, saying something's wrong. And it's usually because of the price. As long as you have a realtor that knows how to present your home and market your home, that's what I specialize in. It's the price. And so you need to react. You need to respond quickly to that. Ignoring that feedback leads to longer time on market and lower offers. Smart sellers adjust early to stay ahead of price drops. And the longer you wait, the more you risk losing. So listening to the market is critical. An overpriced home will ultimately sell for less than if it had been priced right from the start. You hear me harping on this, folks. It is the most important factor. It's all about price. It's all about price. Even a chicken coop in the bad part of town will sell if it's priced right. So what's your solution? Listen early, act fast. Watch that buyer activity, or your realtor will, but watch that buyer activity closely in the first 1 or 2 weeks. And that's what I do with my clients, with my sellers. I'm watching that activity, and we respond based on the activity or lack of it. Be ready to adjust your price or the presentation of the house quickly if there's little or no interest. Use the agent feedback and showing traffic as your guide. So if you do have some buyers come through, like what I do with my sellers, buyers come through, then I follow up with that agent and say, if the buyer's not going to put in an offer, why? What was it that turned that buyer away from the house? Whether it's price or the size of the kitchen, or maybe not enough big enough backyard. By the way, if it's something we can do something about, like if there was a scent, they smell a cat box, okay, we can fix that. If buyers say, you know, the kitchen was too small, well, we really can't do that. But it's good for you to understand why buyers may say no. And then, of course, trust the market. It's the only opinion that matters. And by the way, we speak market as realtors. Mistake number 4, sloppy disclosures, the legal landmine. So like I said, when you are on the market or when you get listed, you're going to fill out a stack of disclosures. And it's a good little stack. And depending on if you're in El Dorado County, there's more because of the fire stuff. So you're going to fill out that paperwork, and it's basically you're going to tell the buyers everything you know about the property. Because if as you are a buyer, when you go to buy, and you've probably already done this, if you own a home, you want to know everything there is to know about that home. You want to know what the sellers know. So if you don't disclose properly, or you intentionally leave something out, or forget well, forgetting is legitimate, but we'd have to talk about that. But there's hidden issues that could spark legal trouble after closing, and you want to make sure you work with an agent who understands those, and make sure you disclose you don't get into legal trouble. By the way, disclosure laws tend to favor buyers in California, not sellers. So it's not like buying a car where it's caveat emptor, in other words, buyer beware. In real estate, it's seller better disclose or buyers can sue. Missing information raises suspicion and slows the deal. Buyers may cancel if they find something out that wasn't disclosed, or demand price cuts. Now, granted, they can ask, you're not obligated to do a price cut, but the point is you don't want to have to get in that position. And lack of disclosure or poor disclosure damages the trust between the parties and makes your home feel more risky to them. So the solution, of course, is complete all those disclosures carefully and thoroughly, and work with your realtor to make sure they go over them, make sure that there's anything missing or not done correctly, that it's resolved. Because what's going to happen is once you get into contract with a buyer, that stack of paperwork, those disclosures, are going to be sent to the buyer's agent for the buyer to review and sign off on. So you want to be 100% honest and disclose all known issues, big or small. And again, the paperwork asks questions very specifically. So it's not like you're going to be sitting there sort of blank going, okay, what do I tell them? You're just going to answer several pages of questions all about the property. You're going to complete every section thoroughly. You're not going to leave any blanks or guessing. You're going to review the documents carefully for accuracy and completeness. You'll attach repair receipts, permits, or reports if you have them. If you've added on, let's say, a 4th bedroom to your house and you've got a permit, you're going to show that to the buyers, okay? That kind of thing. If you've got it, you're going to think like a buyer. More information builds trust, not fear. And work with a realtor who knows how to protect you. And the last document, actually, there's a couple others I'm going to throw, is if you hang till the end, is behind the scenes of a winning home sale, the 10 critical power moves your listing agent should be making, but probably isn't. So, you know, we as agents do a lot behind the scenes, a lot of things you're never even aware of to get the deal done. It's sort of like, I've always likened it to like a duck floating on the water. I may seem cool and collected up top, but underneath I'm paddling like crazy to get the deal done for you. So you want to make sure that paddling is being done correctly and that all the proper paddling is being done. So I'm going to give you that as well. And these are not heavy books. These are simple guides that are fairly easy to get through, actually very easy. So I'm going to offer this again. Oh, I do have one person that has booked, so very good. That link is going to take you to my calendar to pick a time and date that works for you. Again, no obligation. And if for those of you who book tonight, I'm going to give you these two extra guides. One is the Advanced Home Seller Playbook. And this is if you're not going to sell for several weeks or months out, you want this guide here. It's going to tell you what you need to do in advance. Some people, they say, well, I'm going to wait until I'm a month away from selling and then I'm going to start doing stuff and meeting with a realtor then. No, you want to do this weeks or months ahead of time. I often meet with my clients weeks or months ahead of time because they want to know, what do I need to do with the house? What doesn't make sense for me to waste my money or time on? You see anything obvious I need to make changes or repairs, that kind of thing. And obviously discussing the process and the type of market that we're going into, because markets change seasonally. And then this other one is probably the one that my sellers love the most, and that's inspection red flags for sellers. And I like that. How to avoid deal killing surprises and protect your equity. So when a buyer gets into contract, they're, like I said earlier, they're going to do those inspections. They're going to hire professional home inspectors or pest inspectors or roof, sewer, whatever they choose to have done. But usually it's at least a home inspection, sort of a general home inspection. So home inspector comes in, goes up in the attic, crawls under the house if you've got a crawl space, looks under the sinks for leaks, checks the electrical, checks the doors, windows, all the mechanical systems in the house, that kind of thing. And I'll tell you, the things that are missed by sellers in advance can make a big difference. Sometimes deals go south because the seller didn't know something that was found in an inspection, and then by then it's too late. So if you book this evening, I'll send you these as well. So mistake number 5, choosing the wrong agent. This is one of my favorites. Excuse me. Choosing the wrong agent is probably one of the things that people do most often. Is they focus on somebody who will either say, I'll give you the highest price. If they talk to 2 or 3 agents, they say, well, hey, this one said they'd give us the highest price, so we got to go with them. Big mistake. Or this one said they'll cut their commission in half. Again, so just be careful. But understand when you're choosing an agent, high list price promises often lead to lowball results. I heard this a long time ago at a seminar when I was a new agent. He said, if the only value proposition they have is a lower commission, you got to run. Because just like I said earlier, if you're going to get heart surgery, you wouldn't want to go with the least expensive heart surgeon. Now, granted, most of us have insurance, but you get my point, is you don't want to go with the person that says, I'm going to give you the highest price or I'm going to give you the lowest commission. Discount agents may skimp on marketing and support. And by the way, if somebody is a discount agent or has to discount their fee to get a listing or a client, that's not somebody you want to work with, because they know their value. They know their worth. I have a tiered system where I have different commissions for different sales packages. So I give my sellers a choice. Most agents just have one commission and that's it. Inexperience equals poor pricing, weak negotiation, and missed red flags. And that's the other thing. Some people will hire a friend or somebody who's new in real estate, or their sister just got in real estate or has been in real estate, whatever, but they bring them in and maybe they're newer and maybe they're inexperienced and they don't understand the ins and outs and all the red flags and all the potential risks that it could affect a seller. My voice is a little hoarse. I've been talking a lot today. The wrong agent means more time on the market and more stress. You get what you pay for. This isn't the time to bargain hunt. And most agents that I've seen over the years use the PPPP method. Maybe you've heard of this. They take photos. They put a sign in the ground. They place a lockbox on the door, and then they pray that the home sells. Some agents just do that because they don't understand the real process, how to maximize a seller's proceeds and sell in the seller's timeline. They just want to make it easy. Sometimes they'll take phones with their pictures with their iPhone. You can get good pictures these days, but like I use all professional photography on all my listings. And it's not just about putting the sign in the ground and the lockbox on. Yes, those are part of it, but there's a whole lot more to selling a home. So you want to choose trust, choose experience, and you want to choose right. Hire for results, not promises. Make sure you understand what that track record of results is for whoever you hire. Ask about their list to sale price ratios. In other words, how close to list price do they get? For me, for instance, my average is I get 4% above the market average for my clients. I've done that for several years. Days on market, how long do their listings stay on the market? The success rates. You want to choose a full-time local expert. Don't choose somebody doing it part-time on the side. That's not, that's like going to a part-time doctor. And make sure you get somebody local. You want somebody that understands this area, greater Sacramento area, and local ordinances and the disclosure laws and all that. You want to review their marketing plan, make sure you understand it. Pick the truth tellers, not the yes men or women. You do not want an agent who tells you what you want to hear. You want an agent to tell you what you need to hear, even if you don't like it. And I always tell my clients, I ask them, of course, how honest do you want me to be with you on a scale of 1 to 10? And almost all of them say 10. And I say, okay, I'm going to tell you things that may not make you happy, but I guarantee I'll smile when I say it. Because you're hiring, if you hire an agent, you're hiring that agent to tell you the truth and do the good job for you. And as agents, we want to get you the highest price because we're paid on commission. So you make more money, we make more money. It's beneficial for both of us. So you want to get those people who tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. Look for cancel anytime agreements. Whoa, this is a big one. A lot of agents don't do this. I offer what's called an easy exit listing agreement. At any time prior to getting into contract, if you change your mind, maybe a job relocation doesn't go through, maybe you decide to keep the house and rent it, maybe you just don't want to move, maybe you don't like me. Of course, that rarely happens because I'm a heck of a nice guy. But the point is I let you walk away from that listing. No harm, no foul, no cost. Now, once we get into escrow with a buyer, it's a different story because we've got a buyer for your home. And watch hiring friends or relatives. It is a business transaction, folks, and sometimes things don't go well in real estate, and you do not want to affect those relationships. I have seen it happen many times over the years. The agent you choose can directly impact your time on the market and your bottom line. So choose wisely. We're winding down here, folks. We're winding down. Hang in there and get those guides for you. So what does your agent do for you? One, helps you price strategically with market data. Doesn't just come up with a number out of the blue, helps you price based on the market. We don't tell you what you should sell at. We say, here's what it's looking like in the market. What's comfortable for you? Ultimately, you make the decisions. Again, like I tell my clients, the advice is mine. The decisions are yours. Your agent helps you with, make sure I move something around here. Your agent helps you prep and stage your home for maximum appeal. So I do a walkthrough, what I call a home audit, a home prep audit. We walk through room by room and I make recommendations on, okay, here's how this room is going to show its best. Maybe you need to take this chair out because it's too big. Maybe you need to rent a storage unit and start packing your stuff. You're going to move anyway, start packing early and make sure the house isn't too crowded. I provide professional photos and marketing. We market your aggressive, a good agent should do this, markets aggressively online and offline, and screens and negotiates with buyers. You want to make sure that no buyer walks into your house to see it if they're not qualified to buy. If they just called an agent and said, I want to go see this house, and they're not pre-qualified with the lender, we don't know who that person is. We're not going to let them in your house. Good agent's going to guide you through disclosures, contracts, and paperwork. When I got into real estate in 2000, the California purchase agreement or the offer contract was 8 pages, which was still a very long document. Today, it's double that. It's 16 pages. So you want an agent who understands that contract. Like I said, I teach other agents how to do the contracts and disclosures and that paperwork. You want to make sure somebody understands it, can guide you through it, and answer your questions. And of course, an agent's going to manage showings, feedbacks, and the closing once you get into contract. So there's a whole lot to do there. And you want a good agent that knows what they're doing. That seller-agent relationship is so important. The seller-agent relationship is a fiduciary, actually seller, agent, buyer, or agent, seller. It's a fiduciary duty. Fiduciary is one of a high-level client. In other words, fiduciary duty is what an attorney has with their client or a financial advisor has with their client. In other words, that we work for your self-interest, for your better interests, not our interests. Okay, so that relationship is critical. You want an agent that's going to give you honest advice, truth over flattery, clear communication. What I've learned over the years is the #1 cause for problems during the real estate process, listing and closing process, almost probably 90+% of the problems start from a lack of communication. And when I talk to sellers who maybe new sellers I'm working with, and they've had experiences in the past, and some of them had bad experiences, and 9 out of 10 say, oh, my agent didn't communicate with me, or we got surprised, hit in the back of the head with a problem we didn't even expect. So my goal with my clients is all about communication, setting expectations, and then stuff can happen. There can be problems during a real estate transaction. Sometimes we just can't avoid it. Properties don't do anything wrong. It's the people. It's usually buyers, sellers, the real estate agents, the lenders, the home inspectors. Something could cause a problem with that. And so you want to make sure you get somebody who understands that, can anticipate that, set good expectations, and communicate with you. And then if there are issues, recommend solutions. You want a strong negotiator. You want somebody full-time and responsive. You want somebody that's going to return your calls if you get their voicemail. You want somebody who, if you text them, they're going to get back to you. Understanding that, yeah, like I tell my clients, if I'm in an appointment, you may text me or call me and I won't answer, because I don't answer my phones during appointments. I've seen agents do that, and no, that's the rudest thing in the world. Just like when I'm with you in an appointment, my phone will be off. So, but I do return those calls and text you back. You want a true partner. So here's what your agent does not do for you. And this is mainly for those of you who are new sellers. Your agent does not set the value, or excuse me, the market sets the value, you set the price. The agent doesn't tell you what you should list at. We may give you advice, we may give you guidance, but it's ultimately your choice. And hopefully you'll make that choice based on the market factors. There's no guaranteed sale or price. I cannot guarantee that your home's going to sell, or I cannot guarantee it's going to sell for a certain amount. Now, my track record is pretty darn good, almost 1,000 homes, but there's no way to guarantee that. I can't control the buyers or the market. That's a fool's errand. I can guide you on repairs or staging, but of course I can't do those for you. And of course, no agent can give you legal or tax advice unless they're licensed in law or a licensed or a tax advisor professional. We are forbidden to do anything, give legal advice or tax advice, that kind of thing. I could advise you on real estate all day long, but not on those other two. So I've got one more person who has booked. So you guys are going to get these guides. So I've still got 3 slots available over the next a little over 2 weeks. So book now. Again, you're going to go to my calendar. You'll figure out something that works for you at your time frame. And again, it's no obligation. We're going to answer your questions. I'm going to tell you what we do to get you top dollar to sell quicker, that kind of thing. We're going to go over that specifically. And I'm going to do something called our equity market position assessment. And I'll probably send you all that via email after this so you can see what that assessment is. It's complimentary, no obligation, no pressure. But those of you who book tonight, I'll give you these 2 guides. These are probably the best of the session. Here's the Equity Max marketing assessment that we do. So I do, if you talk to most agents, they're going to give you what's called a CMA or a market analysis. It's just a value of your home based on the area and the comparables. We do much more than that. Not only will I'll give you that full market analysis, but I'm going to do a buyer psychology review. In other words, what in your home is going to turn buyers on? What can we tweak with your listing home that's going to make a difference, going to hit them emotionally? Because folks, we buy on emotion. We buy on emotion. And then we guys, of course, we justify with logic. That's what my wife tells me. But yeah, even we guys, we buy on emotion, but we justify with logic, right? So we talk about that because sales is a psychological situation. Buyers buy on emotion. We all do. So let's figure that out with real estate and about your home. Most agents don't even understand that. I'll show you a competitive positioning report. In other words, where does your home fall in with the competition? Because keep in mind, when your home goes on the market, buyers just aren't going to come see yours alone. They're going to look at the others in the market. So we need to know where yours stands amongst your competition. We'll talk about some high return selling strategies and timing and a pricing strategy for you. And why should you care about this? Well, the clock is ticking. The market's changing. The Federal Reserve lowered their federal funds rate last week. And then everybody thinks, well, gee, if that dropped a quarter point, mortgage rates go the same. No, mortgage rates in this case went up 0.2 of a point more. So they're not directly tied. They're influenced with each other, but they're not directly tied. So the clock is ticking. If you're going to do something, probably sooner rather than later is the way to go. And by the way, selling in fall and winter, one of the best times to sell. A lot of people think I'm going to wait till spring because that's the best time and the weather's great. Well, that's true. It is a good time and the weather's great, but everybody says that. So think about it. you've got to be competitive when you're on the market. And if you list in spring, not to say you can't, it's a good time, your home will sell, but there'll be a whole lot more competition. Fall and winter tend to be some of the best times to sell because yes, there are fewer buyers out there, but there's also fewer homes for sale. So there's less competition. And the buyers that are out are serious. I talked to a car salesman years and years and years ago when I was buying a car, and we were talking about weather and people coming on the lot. And I said, what about when it's raining? He says, Dean, he says, yeah, fewer people come on the lot when it's raining, but when they come on the lot when it's raining, they're going to buy a car. And I've never forgotten that. And that's what I've noticed is buyers who are out in the off season are determined to buy a house. So clock is ticking. Overpricing equals sitting stale on the market. Underpricing too much means it's a regret. Market shifts don't wait, and buyers are ruthless with almost right homes. And so my Equity Max market positioning analysis will fill in all these blanks for you. And again, no obligation, no pressure, not my style. These are my stats over the last few years. My sellers average 4% more than the market average. I sell 11 days faster on average. And where 71.8% of the market homes sell in less than 30 days, 85, almost 86% of my sellers sell within that time frame. And that Equity Max accelerated selling system is what I've got, which ties into that. Is we really work with psychology and making set of urgency. When the buyers feel the clock ticking, they act fast and pay more. So we leverage buyer psychology. We create a bidding environment. We get them from interest to action, and we get them to sell quickly and for top dollar. We're wrapping it up here, folks. Seller guide's just 2 minutes away. We're going to end shortly. By the way, this is my website. If you want to go on and get some great information, go to deansellsfast.com. Just a free resource. I would recommend clicking right here on tips and strategies or blog articles. I've got a whole bunch of articles with seller tips and strategies to increase your price, to make your home better showing, curb appeal tips, closing information about offers and how to get multiple offers, all that kind of stuff. I've got how we compare with the traditional agents out there. This is just a sampling of the blog articles that I've got up there. You'll see they're all dated today because I had to transfer this from an old system of I wrote about 300 blog articles, and I'm starting to transfer them here slowly. So lots of good information here. So I encourage you to go there, deansellsfast.com. And by the way, in the upper right-hand corner of that, there's a how much is your home worth. You can find out instantly. If you click on that link, it'll take you here and you can get an instant home value. Again, it's an estimate, but it's good information. You get that instantly online. So hopefully you can see now that these five mistakes will make you more money, sell quicker, and get an easier drama-free closing. So quick review, and then we're going to go into the guides I'm going to give you. We talked about overpricing. Don't do that. Maybe do at or a little below market to get that interest, that excitement, multiple offers, and then selling above market value. By the way, in that case, when you sell above market value, we were talking about appraisal. The appraisers take into account how much interest there was on the property. So let's say it sold for $20,000 above list price. If I can show an appraiser that we had multiple offers and they started bidding up, that's taken into account for the appraisal, and it can make a difference. Number two, ignoring the presentation of the property. Your home is a product, and you want to package it to sell. Not listening to market is another biggie. Sloppy disclosure, that is a legal landmine. You do not want to go there. And choosing the wrong agent. You can sell faster for more money and with less hassle with the right partner, with the right agent. So couple of quick questions for you. Just answer these on your own. Answer yes or no to yourself, please. One, has your time on this webinar been well spent? Just answer to yourself. Yes. I hope it's yes. You're still here. We've got a good batch still here. You feel more confident being able to sell your home faster for more money and with less hassle? Hopefully that's a yes. Is it fair to say that using these techniques will give you a significant advantage over other sellers in your area? The competitors. I guarantee your competitors are not getting this information, nor are they getting the information in the home selling guides I'm going to give you. I don't know what you knew about the process beforehand, but I'm going to guess this was valuable to you. I hope so. And then if so, Got a cat here. So working out of the home office, get the animals. Would you like to meet with me one-on-one or in person to discuss your priorities, your plans, answer questions, and let me show you how I can get those things done for you that we've talked about tonight. So I'll give this link one more time. I do have a third person that has come on board. So I've got 2 slots available over the next few days. And by the way, for those of you who didn't have a chance to book something tonight, maybe you've got to look at your schedule. I'll send you a booking link after the fact via email, and feel free to book later or give me a call. Either way. And again, there's no obligation, no pressure. You have my word. Here's that booking again. There's the Equity Max assessment. These kinds of things we'll talk about, and then you'll get these books. And as promised, here's access to your guides that can add tens of thousands, or at least thousands, to your bottom line. So you can take your phone right now and scan that barcode, or after the fact, you can go to homesellerguides.com. And there's the 4 guides, but I'm going to include one more, and that is this. And you noticed we covered 5 costly mistakes tonight and how to avoid them. This guide I just updated 3 or 4 days ago with 5 additional common mistakes. So I'm gonna put that in the Google Drive too, where you can access that. So it'll give you 5 more. It'll cover what we've talked about tonight and refresh that. So in case you didn't take notes, a lot of people just forget this kind of stuff. It's all going to be in writing for you. And taking a lot of time, taking a lot of energy to put my experience and everything I've done with my sellers to get them higher prices, sell faster with less hassle into these guides. And I hope you find them beneficial. So I thank you very much.